All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Tellor community call. Yeah, May 12th, 2020. Uh, we are officially here in a post-happening world. Um, so, yeah, if it was really, really sort of a non-event.
Yeah.
It was, I guess that's how you want these things. Hopefully there's a question we can talk about it for a while, but yeah. Um, it did not triple the price like everyone said it would. I'm so disappointed here. Um, but anyway, Teller, we were with you guys last week on the call. We've just kind of been working hard, um, doing a lot of dev work. Hopefully, we can have some good releases to show you guys over the next month. And we've also just been working at building a community. So as far as announcements go, I'm going to show you guys a little tease of a front end thing that we're working on. I'd love kind of your thoughts, how you guys think you might use it. Other things. So the first thing, some people have heard of some sort of discussions about disputes over in the teller world, and some people are getting disputed. So for those of you watching this, I'm guessing most of you are familiar with the teller dispute process. We have 5 miners who submit values for each of the requests on chain. So if somebody requests the price of Ethereum, 5 miners compete a proof of work, and along with their solution to the proof of work, they also submit the price of Ethereum. If they do not submit the price of Ethereum, meaning if they submit uh, 10 million or 0 or anything that does not correlate to the price of Ethereum at that time, you can dispute them. So you pay a fee and you can slash them. So you take their 1,000 tokens and it goes to a vote. In all of Teller's history, there have been 28 now disputes. The vast majority of them were in kind of the first month we launched. Uh, I think the first like 19 or something were just minor issues. Minor as far as like our build of the miner. We were still kind of hashing out some of the details there, but it was back when TRB was 20 cents and not even traded, so it was sort of a different world. So there haven't been many since, and most of them have been we reach out to people. But one of the last ones that happened, some people have been saying some different things, so we just wanted to clear up the facts. There has been one dispute kind of over the past few weeks, dispute ID 28. So what happened there? Somebody requested the price of Bitcoin. 4 miners submitted the price of Bitcoin, and 1 miner submitted the price of Ethereum. And luckily, the system is working really great in the sense that they were disputed almost right away. We don't know who the disputer is. Somebody disputed them, and yeah, so it looks like this happened last Thursday. It looks like they're going to be slashed after a week-long vote. It was a good dispute. The price of Ethereum is not the price of Bitcoin. And that's basically all that happened. It's sort of a different world. Some miners have been talking that maybe this is too severe. And we definitely feel for the miners, because it is, you lose 1,000 TRB, which is a lot. And a lot of these mining pools think that this may be a little too harsh, because usually what happens is, like in this case, they submitted the price of Ethereum for the price of Bitcoin. It probably had to do with just a bug in their code. I would like to, we would love to work with them as much as possible, because to be honest, it's actually not our code. Almost all of the miners that are now running are using custom miners. We do have the Teller miner, which is out there, which is a GPU miner, and we have a database that we build, and that's kind of the reference implementation, if you will. But as far as I know, I do know that this person wasn't using it, and most of the other people who I've talked to have sort of built their own for efficiency gains, which is you sort of expect. It's a competition, but at the same time, if you're writing your own software, not and there's nothing wrong with our implementation, but there is with yours. There's not a whole lot we can necessarily do. You know, it's not necessarily our fault, and we can't necessarily handle how those sort of software pieces built. We are up on a test net, and we hope that miners will kind of in the future use the test net more, make sure that we do some more robust tests. And we'd also love kind of feedback from other miners too, because the stronger we can sort of make the Tellor miner, I think the better off everyone's going to be. I know it's a competition, but in all honesty, we need to make sure that we have that really robust implementation in place. And if there is anything wrong with it, if you guys disagree with how we're putting it out, or you think we can make it stronger, those things are going to be really important moving forward, because we are kind of over the next month, and then especially as we move to V2, we're going to be pushing a lot more data on chain. We're going to be putting a lot more reliance on this database to sort of stay updated and do a lot more things. So make sure you're helping out with that. The miners especially have, even apart from the 1,000 TRB invested, there's usually a huge hardware requirement as well. So you guys are really invested in our systems, and we want to make sure that you guys are happy and actually contributing to the overall system and success of Tellor, rather than just keeping closed off. Because whenever everyone's sort of closed off and kind of capitalistic about it all, what happens is whenever these situations arise, it turns into an everyone for themselves situation, which isn't really beneficial to anyone. So happy to talk more about it, but if anybody wants to reach out to me, feel free to do that. But yeah, so on that, and next week's tech call, all of you miners or just people who want to know more about Tellor, we'll be doing a tech call next week, and I'm just going to go over the miner, a little bit of a deep dive, what the structure is, how it works, and kind of our vision for the future off-chain pieces of Tellor, and how it all should work. So it should be a really good one. I'll kind of just talk for 45 minutes on the different aspects of off-chain information on Tellor. So with that said, before we get into the questions though, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a tease. So this is something we're working on. We are currently going to go over, and what's going to happen is we're sending this out to a designer. This is going to be
yes, this is just the
rough
the design. It's very rough.
But basically, we're going to have a little dashboard for everyone to come to. We'll have the last updated prices for all of the data that we have there. And then if you want to see it get updated again, you just come here and you add a tip. It's going to ask you to place your tip there, and then it'll send it off to MetaMask. And you can ask for an update there. So it's going to be a nice, simple system. This is going to be for updating the price information. The other piece that we're actually working on too is going to be more of a governance center. So for actually voting and looking at the various disputes. So there's really going to be two pieces, and I think those are going to be the core between, this more user-friendly one that most of you guys will probably want to look at, which is just going to be price feeds, and then the governance center, which, like I said, is very rarely used. Those will be kind of the two pieces of the front end that Tellor needs, even though we are most of our stuff is on the back end Solidity side. So yeah, looking forward to being live. Our goal is by the end of this month, we'll have both of them out there. So looking forward to giving those to you guys. Anyway.
Yeah, we've talked about Tellor Scan and doing an update to Tellor Scan. And this is sort of the direction we decided to go in, with having two simple web apps to interact with Tellor Network. It's not quite the full vision of Tellor Scan that I think we eventually might move to. Right now we really just wanted to focus on getting a nice price feed up that people can, and people have been asking about it. There's something where people can come see Tellor working. They can see actively updating price feeds. Because we always say, hey, we've been launched since August, and we've been updating prices like every 10 minutes since. this will give, this is sort of proof of that, and a place for people to actually effectively request data and add tips to certain requests. So we're excited about that. But this is kind of what we ended up doing instead of doing a full revamp of Tellor Scan like we had before, which was kind of like an overly complicated, complex dashboard that I think was just way too much than was really needed at this point. So hopefully you guys like it and agree with us that this is a good direction. We're really excited about it. Do we have a date when you think this will go live, Nick?
I'm shooting for June 1st. We'll definitely we'll put out the the rough version by June 1st.
Yeah. So it's coming.
We'll hold ourselves to it, which is like 2 weeks away, or
yeah.
Ish. So
we want it to look we want it to be polished and really nice before we put it.
We don't do front end things very often, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the questions, Mike.
Cool. All right. We have 22. First one is, should Ethereum have a dev share?
Tough question. I think it's too late at this point. You guys you can't do a giant pre-mine and then implement yourself a dev share. Yeah. You guys are ruining it. But yeah, I think at some point it might make sense, though. Obviously you can be bitter about a pre-mine, but I think having a piece in there, the hardest part when it comes to a pre-mine, or not a pre-mine, a dev share, which hopefully will become an issue with us as well, is how do you sort of distribute it and spend it? It's fine. Like even with Tellor now, it's pretty minuscule. It can support a staff, but if Ethereum had a 10% dev share, for instance, and now you're dealing with, $100 million a year, if you're sort of not getting results, then you really question the reason that you do it. So yeah, it's always, you want to sort of keep them, because Zcash has a dev share and a lot of people question whether or not that's too high or they should take off. People have tried to fork away. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those community things. If you think that, I'm all for it. If the community thinks that there are big underfunded pieces that need to be worked on, then a dev share makes sense. If there aren't those big pieces, or if they're being done, in some other sense, because I think, Bitcoin's problem without like a dev share or any sort, that's definitely one of the issues I would say with Bitcoin is you had some corporations and some of the big holders who sort of took their own interests and have kind of molded Bitcoin in their own way. And you don't want that. You sort of want it to be held by the community and in the control of the community. So if you can utilize a dev share to do that, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're going to have DAOs that sort of can play a role for Ethereum in that regard. So next question is, has Tellor's newfound burst of fame caused any of the big podcasts to take note? Well, thank you for noticing. I don't know if I'd call it a burst of fame, but yes. we feel like it's more of a steady burn,
right?
Not a burst of flame.
I'm
not so sure. We've reached out to a few podcasts and a few of the bigger name ones. Hopefully they get back to us, and they know who we are and they're aware of us. I think we would be great guests to have on the show, but nothing solid yet. So
yeah, we need your guys' help. Feel free to reach out.
Yeah, it really helps because you guys are the listeners. It helps for them. It's different when I reach out or Nick reaches out or Brenda reaches out to say we want to be on your show, which we do. But if their audience is sort of saying, hey, here's what we want to hear, here's who we want to see, that goes a long way. We recently had a Twitter thread with I forget which podcast it was now. And we had a lot of our Tellor fans on there did a really good job to contribute to that Twitter thread to get us on there. So hopefully that works out. How long do you guys see yourselves working on Tellor? Uh, well, I don't know. We really never look that far ahead. It would,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it's hard to even imagine what the space is going to be like 5 years from now. I can't even visualize it. We've been so nose to the grindstone. We really kind of only look, like our sort of periscope is about a year's length in line. And we sort of focus on what we're up to in that time frame. I would love it if we could grow this thing into something that was like the last company we worked for.
Yeah, and I think it obviously matters, with Tellor now being sort of in its nascent stage. There's a lot of development work that needs to be done, and there's a lot of community building that needs to be done. But once you get, let's say we do succeed and we make it, and then you're the size of like Ethereum or Bitcoin, that then like the protocol changes a whole lot less, and it's if we do our job of successfully kind of decentralizing ourselves, then a lot of the community should hopefully be doing a lot of this building for us, and you'll have kind of competing clients and competing pictures. So like the need for us to do this core piece of Tellor will go down, but then how we sort of use our free time or our free resources to expand into other business avenues will sort of be seen, and hopefully we do a good job, and if not, you guys can fork out the dev share and kick us all to the curb. So
Right.
Yeah.
But no matter what, we'll always be, part of Tellor.
Yeah.
Even if you guys kick us out.
We'll be the Roger Ver of Tellor. It'll be.
Yeah, I'm not leaving from my cold dead hands.
Right.
You guys would have to invite us on the community calls at that point.
Yes.
Any Tellor hackathons coming up? Why didn't Tellor take part in Hack Money? No hacks officially coming up, but we're working on them. I actually have a call set up with the Gitcoin people who run some virtual hackathons, as well as ETH Global. So it's something that's on our minds. I think this is part of our strategy going forward is to utilize hackathons to get people to implement and build cool things on Tellor. So we're all about it, and I can't wait to share more once we have something actually planned.
Yeah, and I know some people from the Hack Money did build on us, which was super cool. They reached out to me. Why we weren't officially part, I'd say, was probably just because we didn't hear about it until it was like too late to sponsor.
Exactly.
So if you guys find out about these things, definitely let us know. There's just 3 of us here. We're trying to keep on top of it all. So yeah.
I feel like you guys are lining up a lot of clients for V2. Am I wrong about this?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, hopefully you're right about it. But I mean, we can't say we are definitely. I would say all we're doing is lining up clients.
Yeah, because it's always one of those things. Like I feel like other projects that as soon as you have a client lined up, you make a partnership announcement, and that's considered a partner. Whereas we don't want to do that. We want to just having someone say they're going to build on you is really different than them actually building on you and launching something. And that's what we want to focus on actually getting. We want to focus all of our efforts and all of our kind of bandwidth on projects that we think can actually launch and can actually push Tellor towards success. So that's what we're doing. And
the one company we did that with, something like that, this was sort of with Buyout Chain. So you guys can see, like, we talk with those guys, and we're still very positive and hopeful about that. But you can see what's happening. We're in the chat. People are like, "What's going on with Buyout Chain?" That's what happens when you sort of make these announcements that before anything's actually built, which is something we don't want to do very often, and we want to really focus on the tangible things. And I think that's a good example as to why we don't really do that very often, because we could have a lot more of those, but
yeah, you want it to be real.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of you are starting to get it, in terms of you can trust us when we say, hey, we're announcing something and it's not BS. So we like building that kind of trust with you guys. So just, and it requires patience. I know you guys are chomping at the bit, and so are we. So um, next question. Tellor missing out on Ethereal Virtual Summit was a pretty disappointing misfire. How do you feel about virtual conferences going forward? Do you have a better opinion of them now than you previously did? Not taking advantage of these opportunities is arrogant.
Is this the founder of Ethereal Summit writing us a question?
Yeah, I talked to them. So we definitely were arrogant about getting involved in the Ethereal Virtual Summit. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I've been talking with DeFi Dad and his partners about Ethereal Summit and getting involved for a while now. It just didn't work out. Their speaker slots were filled and their price points were pretty high for what it was. And this was all around the time that we were getting involved with the Dystopia Labs Virtual Summit, which we thought was amazing for us. And it was I thought they did an amazing job. And I think we're going to have a good relationship with them going forward. So I am disappointed as well that we weren't involved in it, but it wasn't out of any lack of effort on our part to be involved. Just wasn't, I guess it wasn't a good fit, or the timing wasn't right. So
I still don't
on to the next one.
I still don't like virtual summits.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I like them only because they're the only option right now. But
yeah, I mean, I like them in the sense that, like, so the way I look at it is like I don't necessarily attend virtual summits too often. Usually I just listen to them all the recordings afterwards about the people I like. So whenever I look at like what's the benefit you're going to get from a virtual summit, to me it's like almost like paying or getting to be on like a podcast or something. And how well do you think they can push the listens? So yeah, it's, because you lose, like with normal conferences, the reason you go to normal conferences is you connect with a whole bunch of people that are there in the whole space, but you obviously don't get any connections with a virtual summit. The only people you sort of get to connect with are hopefully the listeners of it, which, how well can they drive? And like with some of these virtual summits, you can log on and, if they're like honest about their viewer count and things like that, sometimes it's 20 people are listening. It's not a whole lot of engagement. And then especially if they don't post the content afterwards, it's, you can pay a lot of money for 20 people to listen to your talk. So
yeah, so everything's got to be done right, and we thought the Dystopia Labs one was done very well, and so we're really happy with that. And we had people reach out to us that had watched it, that otherwise wouldn't have heard of us, or you know what I mean. So I feel positive about them going forward. But just like anything, there's good ones and there's bad ones, and so we'll see. But thanks for the question. Next question. I think you should make it more explicit that the community updates relate to the previous month. And so you're like reading my mind. I've been sort of bugged about that for my own reasons for a while now. I think maybe just calling it, like, instead of calling it the community update, just calling it Tellor's monthly review makes much more sense, because that's what it is. It's a month in review. I haven't wanted to change it because we sort of got it started. I don't want to change the name right away and make it seem like we're, I don't know, schizophrenic or something like that. But
pull the plug, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I should. If you have any recommendations on that would make sense, other than just changing the title to monthly review, for sure, because that's what it is. So anyway, thank you for sharing that thought. I agree. Ethereum has quite a large pool of developers. How can we better tap into it for building out Tellor? What do you think, Nick?
It's really tough. I mean, this is a question, I think the fact that we're on Ethereum definitely helps. But, like every DeFi project out there, like how do you sort of incentivize people to build on your project, or, even layer one chains? How do you get developers to build on your chain? I think it's really tough because you have like two options. You have to either be the choice that they build on because for some reason they want to build on you, or you have to pay them. And obviously, like, um, I think it's twofold because you can't pay people to build on you. You'll never sort of beat out the Ethereums of the world that don't have to pay developers to build on them. Like EOS has to pay developers to build on them, where Ethereum developers just come and use them because that's where you philosophically align with. You want something that's decentralized, and that's where the users are. And I think that's where we want to be in the future, is that we're such a standard in the space. Like whenever people think we need an oracle in our project, they come and use Tellor because using anything else would sort of compromise their project. And I think once we build out our tooling set to be that standard, it'll be easier. And then
The
once,
way I read this question, Nick, I think he's asking about if any of those developers could help us build out Tellor, not necessarily build on Tellor.
well, I think it's like twofold. I think if you get people building on Tellor, then people will help build out Tellor. It's like,
For sure.
like who helps build out Ethereum. It's like the big projects that are building on Ethereum are the ones helping to build out Ethereum. um
Mm.
it goes hand in hand. And somebody can get really successful on top of Ethereum, they'll donate to grants, they'll donate things like that to help further the ecosystem. And I think the same is going to sort of play itself out with Tellor.
Yeah, we still need to grow to the point where we're building the foundations of that to have the reputation and to be an exciting project that people are proud to have on their resume, that they came and they did one of our bounties, or they're working for us now, that kind of thing. So we're not there yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
How would you define, this is a good follow-up, how would you define Tellor's culture?
God, I hate these questions.
Oh, I'm comfortable with these.
Yeah, you're like the life coach who loves these kind of questions.
I know.
Yeah. Describe your values and your core thesis of Tellor.
Good.
No, yeah. So the culture of Tellor, I think we kind of strive for, in my mind, it's like intellectual honesty in a way, where you're building things that you can build. They're farthering the space, and you're sort of just honest about what it can do. What you're not BSing anyone. You're trying to do things the right way. And those are kind of the core tenets to me, and that's kind of the culture we try and do. Hopefully even just with these calls that we're sort of out just talking with people in the open, and trying to be very transparent. It just shows just what level we're trying to do to further that end. There isn't this kind of corporate culture about it, or there isn't this I hate like the term startup culture in a way that like you're trying to just BS investors to grow and grow crazy fast. We're actually trying to build something. We're actually trying to get users, and that's more important than kind of the image of the San Francisco startup or the Fortune 500 company that I think a lot of crypto projects try and view themselves as, kind of to their own detriment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just in brief, I would say we're values-based for sure. We're mission-based, and we're community-based. Like, we like to be transparent and engaged with you guys. Like, we're always in the DMs, with all you people, and we make our time and we make ourselves available as much as we can, which I think is something pretty unique, or it's just not as common. Internally, the three of us were like, we're as close as we can be. We're friends. We do workout programs together and encourage new skills and playing musical instruments and all that kind of stuff. And so we'd like to stay, we like to keep things fun and productive, yet we don't shy away from sort of getting involved in the sort of the lighter side of things too. So, and I think that we try to show that with you guys as well. We like to have fun in the chat and all that stuff and on these calls. And so I don't know, maybe that's like the millennial startup culture that we have, or that you don't like, Nick, or whatever, but I think that's good. I think having this sort of vibe is sort of the way that businesses are going to go forward anyway. You want to have fun with what you do every day, and so do we.
Laurie asked, does that machine behind you have something to do with your workout program, Mike?
So this is a inversion table. Nick has lent it to me.
It was actually like right over there for the longest time.
For a long time. Nick was having some back problems, and I hurt my back recently, and I was like, I need it back. And he was like, good, I haven't used it in a while. It just hangs you upside down by your feet like a bat, and it sort of, deep compresses your spine. So
if you watch late night TV, there's tons of infomercials for these things for like 80-year-old men. This is
that's us.
Yes, let's tell
I got a slip disc, but they work really well.
Yeah, go get an inversion table. They're nice.
It's fun to get an inversion table. And if you're really badass, you can try to do sit-ups hanging upside down.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've lost my place. Conferences, including virtual, are the best way to attract devs. Agree?
No.
I would say yes, but depends on the conference. We like the ETH hackathons. Whether or not you can call them a conference or a hackathon, it's sort of semantics, but a dev-focused conference, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's like one of the best things we could do in terms of marketing and business development is to attend these events, get involved, sponsor, and that's what we're going to be doing. So, but some conferences, Nick, you've been to a lot. I've been to a lot. Some of them are like a complete waste of money unless you have an actual meeting set up face-to-face with somebody.
Yeah. I think in-person hackathons are way, way better than virtual. I mean, a lot of these virtual ones, they tend to get a whole lot of bounty hunters out there who are just sort of building on your product because they're going after a bounty. And that's not necessarily what you want. You want people who are interested in building on your project. So the more feedback you can get about them reaching out to you, what they're trying to build, what their pain points are, those are really good things. And then you can sort of make your developer experience better. You can get them to spread the word. That's really how you get developers.
Did DeFi discussions create any good leads?
Yeah, definitely. I think there were, a few people who reached out to us.
Yep. Well, it created good exposure, absolutely. And we got a couple connections from it.
It was interesting. I think there were like different parts of the community that got exposed to Tellor that hadn't been in the past. So it was good because it wasn't like, just the Ethereum space there or something like that. There were some different areas, which was good for Tellor.
How far along is the work on the Gossip Network?
Not too far along. If you want to help out, let me know. We were just kind of talking about that this morning. So we're trying to figure out the best structure for it. And, now it's one of those things that's going to be like an optional Gossip Network for a while at first, just because there's no chain that you're sharing. So it's going to be a fun build, but definitely looking for, we're not trying to sort of be a separate blockchain, if that makes sense.
But have some of the properties of the peer-to-peer.
Yeah, it's going to be a mix.
Yeah. So speaking of that, will there be a Tellor V3? I think maybe having a robust gossip network would be uh, a good V3 type thing.
When like V3, if you assume that we update like this year, and then like say we'll do a V3 in August of 2021, like my guess is, so like whenever ETH 2.0 actually launches, as much as people don't want to admit it, but you're probably going to want to rebuild all of your smart contracts on
Yeah.
native ETH 2.0. So like you'll have to get a new token address, everything like that. And this is just going to be, I predict that they say they're going to bring everything over, but there's probably going to be a whole lot of efficiencies that can be gained just from the new structure, and where on ETH 2.0 you want to build. So um, I'm guessing hopefully Tellor V3 will be on the new Ethereum chain, and we can, we can be faster. There can be, a whole lot of efficiencies and cheaper gas costs and things like that. And that would be super cool to me if we could sort of time it with there. But I mean, that's more up to Ethereum at this point than us.
Yeah. We'll have to text Vitalik, coordinate, synchronize watches. What's your process for finding out what DeFi teams want in an Oracle product? Market research.
I think
process is calling them and speaking with them.
Yeah, we've just talked to literally every project out there. You call them and figure out what they want, and it's really good now. Though I think now probably over the past month, maybe two, like I sort of feel like earlier projects are coming to us now, which is really exciting. So projects that are looking to launch in 6 months to a year, which is just great because then they can design kind of their Oracle piece around us. Whenever existing projects come to us, or they're like, we're launching next week, like, then like it's really hard to sort of sell them on switching, because now you'll be part of their V2 or their V3. And then you tell them like, well, you guys can't rely on your 30-second updates that you do with a centralized Oracle, so you'll have to change things. And they're like, oh, well, we need that for our whole system to work. And those kind of things are just a problem. And luckily people are starting to come to us earlier, which I think is going to be just a really good thing going forward. So
the new people are they're abiding by Oracle best practice number 1.
Yes.
Have your Oracle design be a forethought.
Yeah, so
that's early, so that is cool. Next one is about ZeroX. What has ZeroX done well? It has less volume than Kyber, yet its token has captured far more value. Do you have any insights there?
Well, I think whether or not their token should have,
Right.
these governance tokens should have much value is, ZeroX, like they've switched their token model a million times because they're just sort of trying to find some traction with it. I think any exchange token, like ZeroX is actually not an exchange token to me. But like whether it's, Binance Coin or Leo or even like Kyber Coin, those are all sort of different. And I don't know how those capture value as well as they do. But, right now I think there's a really big, everyone loves automated market makers and these liquidity pools. And I've spoken a little bit on this, but I don't like liquidity pools. So like Uniswap's cool, but at the same time, like I think order books provide much better ways to actually get the liquidity that you want. Automated market makers are basically just really, really stupid market makers. They're very, very inefficient, and I think a lot of people, it's sort of just the lazy way to get a return in a lot of ways. And especially some of these other coins, it's a way for them to shoehorn a coin in there. So not a huge fan of liquidity pools. And I think as order books get more traction, things like ZeroX will come back and start to make more sense. So
This one's funny. Why does Mike follow some really weak projects on Twitter?
This is
ID.
embarrassing, Mike.
Hey, I've been on Twitter since 2011. There's some, and I've never cleaned it up. So don't judge. Uh, he references Pocket Network, Acroma, and Alco. I hope it's because he knows their founders, not because he admires them as projects. Acroma, I don't even remember what that project is. I have no idea. Guilty as charged. But Pocket Network, they're a great project and a great team, and we do know their founders. I like what they're doing. They're trying to decentralize, like a decentralized Infura. I don't know if it's going to work out for them, but I think it's a great team. Michael, who's their CEO, is a great guy. So not a weak project. And Alco, I do know their founder, and they're just like this project that was like one of my first super micro cap coins that I was ever interested in many moons ago. And, you know, I think they're trying to revive themselves from the depths of crypto hell. So I'm just interested in, it's more like a nostalgia for me to follow them. So thanks for spying on me though. Next question. I'm all in on Tellor. I own no other crypto or even any other financial asset. And I can't be talked out of this, not even by you. Does this terrify you? No, I mean,
It might
your
just.
attitude is kind of intense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it all just. So like I did.
You're a passionate guy or gal, I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, definitely just be responsible for you. You know, are you 19 and in college? Like,
That's
cool,
true.
man, go for it. Are you trying to retire next year? You have your
Diversify.
life savings, please diversify. Yes. Yeah, everything matters, you know, about what your situation is. So I think it's up to you to sort of make that best decision. But yeah, it's, you know, it's really, it is honestly humbling whenever people believe in us that much.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a really cool experience for us, just whenever people reach out to us and they're like, you know, we spent a whole bunch of money in your coin. You're like, oh my God, like people really, really do believe in us. And, you know, we want to let you guys know we're really working hard to make sure that we deliver. And basically
Yeah.
our livelihoods are on the line with this too. So
Yeah, we share that in common. We're all in on Tellor.
yeah, you know, we're not selling out or anything like that. So we're here and thank you for your support.
Yep. Well done to Nick for 2 great DeFi discussion talks. Crushed it. Yes,
Thank
you
you.
did.
Yeah, thanks,
You did
man.
great. And one of them was at 2 a.m. Or was it 3? It
was 2 to 3 in the morning. Yeah, it was fun.
So yeah, I'm sure that was really tough. I watched it and I could tell you had like the sleep in your eyes still, you know, whatever that look is, you can tell their eyes are still glossy.
Yeah.
Just waking up.
No, I was sober at 2 in the morning. It was, yeah.
Like no mistakes. You covered all the slides well. Good stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta like you can't say no to an opportunity to do another talk. So
yeah, definitely.
So Nick was like, I'll do, if you need a backup slot, I have other talks prepared. So if you have another slot, like somebody backs out or doesn't show up. And so they were like, yeah, that's great. But of course, like the one that they asked him to fill was the last slot of the night. So as late as possible for him as it could have been.
Yeah.
But he still did it. So do we have just 3 or 4 more? How can users dispute incorrect Oracle data? Will that be a part of Tellor Scan?
Yes, well, you can do it now. Now you just have to sort of use either scan or there's functions built into the miner. But yeah, you can do it now. You need the timestamp and the request ID and which miner it was, and you can do that. So but we are also building out a dispute center piece. So
yep.
It will be a point and click thing. So.
Yes. Will Tellor be bringing on a full-time marketing executive? to increase exposure and awareness. Tellor seems strong in its development, but could use some professional help to get it to the next level. We don't have any plans to hire anything full-time right now, but we are working with a former marketing executive, PR executive.
Don Draper, full-time.
Yeah, for more of a retainer kind of thing. So really, we're excited about that. And so we hope that we do see some increased exposure and awareness. So keep paying attention. I know you will. Is there any possibility to help minors to recover their lost, I guess their lost
children?
state?
This is, yeah. So I think so there's two pieces. So either you're referring to the dispute or to the in general, like if you're losing money mining Tellor, not recovering electricity costs, I suggest you just stop mining Tellor. Pretty easy calculation there. And then about the dispute pieces, so kind of like we had talked about this before. It's a lot easier for me to help out. A lot of times in the past, I have returned people if I'm the disputer. So like we run a disputer ourselves, but people have sort of been beating us to it. If I run the disputer and I dispute you, I usually work with you to try and give you your 1,000 tokens back, because I don't want Tellor to be seen as like we're disputing miners and stealing their 1,000 coins. I just want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So yeah, that's one way. The other way, if you want to help out and build out the miner and try and figure out what we did wrong and why you got disputed, if it had anything to do with, our implementation or what APIs we're querying, things like that, we're more than happy to kind of work with you and just try and get the issues solved. But that's probably more like a bounty thing though. To try and get you your money back. But yeah, I think it's make sure you test it. And it's always been shocking to me how many, especially with the disputes or even some issues like they'll have with the miner, or some issue, they'll reach out when they have an issue, and I look back at their history and they've been mining on us with a whole lot of hash power. So they have a whole lot of money invested in this, and they haven't even reached out to us. Like, guys, like my DMs are open on Discord and Twitter. Like if you're building on us, if you're putting a whole bunch of resources into Tellor, even just buying a whole bunch of our coins, like reach out to us and just ask us some questions.
Yeah, we would literally hop on a call.
Yeah, like
yeah,
some of these big mining pools who spend tens of thousands of dollars on mining software to mine Tellor don't even ask me any questions on the mining software that they're building, and I'd be more than happy to help them. So just reach out. The more we can make it a discussion, then the more footing we have, knowing that you're not being a malicious miner who's actually attacking our system whenever we dispute you.
Another minor. The last question is another minor question. It says, we are using Tellor Miner to get mining task. Should it be miner's liability to check the value, or should it be the Tellor Miner itself?
I mean, it's ultimately up to you guys. The Tellor Miner should check the value. There are a lot of checks kind of in the Tellor Miner, but ultimately it's on you guys. So definitely, yeah, I mean, that's like the disclaimer, because there's really no way to tell what software you are running. We try and put those places into place. So, at the base Tellor Miner, if you think there's a problem with it, or you think we can check the values more, let us know where. We're more than happy to update it. But it is ultimately on you guys. So it's ultimately up to the community to make it better, to make sure that people don't get disputed, because it is this sort of consensus-based system. So help us out, we'll help you guys out. Long story short, so.
Cool. Well, that's it for questions. Great questions as always, you guys. Look forward to the next ones. It'll be a tech call next week, right?
Yep. So yeah, thanks everyone. Look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Talk to you soon.
See ya.